Welcome to Solia's Gambit, the second Mythic Plus wing of Tazavesh in Eternity's End. Today I'll provide you some tips and tricks so you can overcome the enemies in this dungeon, including some familiar faces from Legion and an infinite pirate dragon that's besieging Borealis. Once you start the Keystone, you'll be teleported to Stormheim, where several thousand Murlocs stand between you and the first boss. These enemies are weak on their own, but they form a very threatening swarm, and they'll flee when they reach low health, which can easily lead to 4 or 5 packs bearing down on you all at once. One of the most dangerous things that can happen if you pull too many Murlocs at once is the scale binders creating invigorating fish sticks, which will heal all the Murlocs until eventually your defenses are exhausted. Scale binders can be stunned during their fish stick cast, which dramatically reduces the danger of these pulls. You'll also need to watch out for the Shell Crusher's Cry of Murgur, which will enrage the Murlocs and is potentially lethal for your tank. Watch out for the patrolling giants in this area. They can be worth fighting if you have a lot of single target damage, but avoiding them entirely is not a bad idea, as they ramp up damage on the whole group over time. You don't need to kill all of the Murlocs in this area, but you should aim for around 40% of the enemy forces bar, or else you'll need to backtrack later. After you make your way through some Stormforged Guardians, enemies whose crackle and charged pulse mechanics are exact replicas of their abilities in Legion's Halls of Valor dungeon, you can fight Hylbrande. Make sure to avoid the Titanic Crash frontal, and do your best to avoid standing in the Purging Field on the ground, while quickly swapping to the ads that spawn during the fight. During Hylbrande's Sanitizing Cycle cast, any ads that are still alive will need to be killed before you can interrupt the boss. The Sanitizing Cycle creates 4 orbs that need to be brought to the correct consoles. From the entrance of the room, one is at the top left, one is at the top right, one's at the bottom left, and one's at the bottom right. One player can interact with the console at the very top of the room to see the correct locations of each color, and can then pass that information on to the rest of the group. Those that played during Legion will recognize these colors and runes from the Odin encounter, and one neat thing about them is that each rune is distinctive. So if you have anyone in your group that's colorblind, you can refer to the 4 runes as H, K, N, and Fish. After Hylbrande, you'll take a portal to Borealis, where a group of pirates are being led by TimeCap'n Hooktail, an infinite dragon. This fight is quite dangerous. The tank needs to aim the infinite breath at the ads in order to kill them, but it's very important to be aware of how the boss is turning, since if there are ever players directly behind the boss when it's not busy casting, it'll use its hooked tail to knock them back and apply a nasty bleed. You'll also need to dodge the cannon barrages, and periodically, the ship will harpoon players with Anchor Shot, which will pull them towards the ship. In addition to being a nasty physical dot, this ability is dangerous because if you ever spend 3 seconds in the water, a shark will show up and one-shot you. All of these mechanics combine to create a very difficult positioning challenge. Our best advice is to try and think a few seconds into the future, and have a plan for what you're gonna do if you're targeted by cannons, ads, or the Anchor Shot, because quick reactions can save your life. Once you take the next portal, you'll finally be back to Tazavesh itself, where Solia's guards await you. Interrupts are very useful against the ritualists and accomplices, as they have several dangerous casts, as well as the annoying Reinvigorate heal. The most dangerous enemies in the dungeon are also here, the Adorned Starseers, including a pull where you'll need to take on 2 at once. These create wandering pulsars that blast your whole group for damage and need to be eliminated quickly, while the Starseers are also shooting fast-moving, drifting stars that are very lethal if they hit non-tank players. Solia herself is a 2-phase encounter. In Phase 1, you'll need to deal with her summoned assassins, which will teleport away and need to be interrupted if not quickly killed. Solia also creates collapsing stars, which last for 25 seconds and have 4 total charges. By running into the star, they'll lose a charge, knock back the player that ran in, and apply a dot to the whole group. This dot stacks, and if the star expires, any remaining charges will be applied all at once. So it's best to have one person in charge of running in to the star when the group is healthy and has no stacks of the dot. This can be the healer, but often it's best for the healer to plant and heal during this time, so a melee DPS or a tank player that loses the least from knockbacks can be a better choice. At 40%, Solia will fully heal and transform into her final form. She'll also grab 5 relics, which are the foundation of the new mechanics of this phase. The first is Hyperlight Jolt, which telegraphs a path between the 5 players and must be positioned so that it hits all 5 relics, or else she'll recast it with increased damage. This mechanic looks intimidating, but if each player just picks a relic and stands next to it, ensuring that either the incoming or outgoing jolt will hit it, you'll be able to hit all 5 and stop the cast. She'll then cast an energy fragmentation, bouncing between each relic, which causes each one to shoot out very dangerous projectiles. Then she'll make another collapsing star, after which she'll immediately cast Hyperlight Nova, which causes herself and all the relics to deal heavy damage to anyone too close. If you can handle this initial burst of abilities, you'll be through the most dangerous part of the fight, and will need to just keep handling each ability as it reoccurs for the rest of the fight. That's the end of Celia's Gambit. Good luck in your dungeon runs, and make sure to hit subscribe so you'll catch our upcoming content, including a guide to the new encrypted seasonal affix.